Smokie Studio.
At night, when everyone had turned off their lights and gone to sleep, there was one house that still had a warm, orange glow. In that house lived an artist who was arranging something on his work table by the flickering candlelight. Oh! It was a candle and 4 wax hearts. The artist assembled the wax hearts onto the candle with a loving touch, and the candleman was complete. Michi, that was the name carved on the bottom of the candleman by the artist. The artist took Michi into a dark room filled with towering stacks of large wooden crates. Suddenly, Michi was thrown into one of the crates, and the lid was shut tight. Knock, knock, knock. The crate made continuous sounds, knocking against the wooden walls. Michi kept pounding on the walls of the crate, hoping the artist would hear and save her. But after a long while, there was no response from outside the crate. Michi felt scared. She suddenly found herself in an unfamiliar environment and couldn't help but cry. Suddenly, a light appeared beside Michi. A hand gently patted her head, comforting her. But Michi cried even harder. The candlemen didn't know what to do. They held Michi, hoping to make her feel better, hoping she would stop crying. After Michi calmed down, she felt warmth spreading through her body, and her candlelight flickered back to life. Excitedly, she jumped up and down, as if telling the candlemen, "Look, look, my candlelight is shining too." But soon, the candlemen bid farewell to Michi. With her candlelight, Michi could see the surroundings clearly and discovered other candlemen. However, none of these candlemen had any light. Michi wondered if hugging them would make their candlelight appear. Michi approached one of the candlemen, intending to give it a try. But as she embraced the candleman, he forcefully pushed her away. Michi fell to the ground and wanted to ask the candleman why he pushed her, but all she saw was the candleman waving his hand, urging her to leave. Michi didn't give up. She stood up and tried to help other candlemen. However, time and time again, the other candlemen pushed her away. The candlemen grew angry, constantly driving Michi away and blocking her path back. With no options left, Michi had no choice but to leave and continue moving forward. As she walked, Michi's candlelight grew weaker. When she reached the next group of candlemen, her light had completely extinguished, and no one could recognize her anymore. After a long time had passed, a shining candleman appeared in the midst of the candlemen crowd, dancing. In the middle of his dance, he saw Michi and intended to invite her to dance. However, the candleman waited for a long time, but Michi still didn't react. The candleman thought that Michi hadn't noticed, so he performed difficult dance moves in front of her, hoping to attract her attention. But Michi still didn't respond. When the candleman tried to take the initiative and reach out to Michi, she forcefully pushed him away. The candleman didn't give up and tried again, but the result remained the same. With no other options, the candleman sat beside Michi, opened his hand, and waited for her. Days went by, and the candleman's hand remained empty, while his candlelight grew weaker, as if it would flicker out the next second. Suddenly, the candleman felt a warmth in his hand. Michi tightly held his hand and showed no intention of letting go. The candleman immediately stood up, pulling Michi up with him, and noticed that Michi's candlelight had also ignited. The candleman happily embraced Michi, and Michi embraced him back. After releasing Michi, the candleman extended his hand, inviting Michi to dance. Michi finally agreed and placed her hand on the candleman's hand. They danced from within the crowd of candlemen all the way to the outside. Michi looked at the distant and dark crowd of candles and couldn't help but pause her dance steps. She released her hand from the candleman's grip and slowly walked back. The candleman tried to stop her, but Michi insisted on continuing. After several attempts by the candleman to prevent her, Michi became extremely impatient, pushed him away, and sent him away. Michi returned to the candlemen crowd and sat beside one of them, waiting and waiting. As Michi grew weaker, the candleman still didn't react. Until Michi's candlelight completely extinguished, a hand descended from above. An artist took out several candles from a box and lit them on a plate. As time passed, the candles slowly melted, turning into wisps of white smoke that gathered together and gradually dispersed. And all that remained in the plate was the melted wax and burnt candle wicks fused together.